Hello and welcome to Antinatalism this week. Just a bit of a personal update. This week was particularly difficult for me because my mother met with a road accident. I was not sure if I would be able to make this video, and so I posted this on my community posts. Many people wished my mother recovery, and I would like to thank each one of you for your wishes. She has had multiple injuries and we had to get many x-rays done, but fortunately we could not find any fractures, just some very painful injuries. But in all this, I could still manage to squeeze in an episode. So here it is. Valentine's Day is coming, and Nimrod is organizing an antinatalist outreach that day in Tel Aviv in Israel at 5 p.m. local time. Here's his Facebook event page with all the information in Hebrew. So if you happen to be in that area, you might want to check this out. And of course, all the best to Nimrod for this. There was an article in a Polish monthly magazine on antinatalism. Better Not, Dilemmas of Procreation is a translated title by Agata Sikora. Agatha brings out a contrast between antinatalist concerns. Many motivations for not having children are driven by fear of some kind of apocalypse. Sometimes this is manifested as environmental antinatalism or just the fear of some kind of catastrophe like nuclear war. But Agatha says perhaps we need to ask more fundamental question, not about the morality of procreation in the context of climate catastrophe, but about the morality of procreation in general. After all, birth always leads to greater or lesser suffering and inevitable death. And then she refers to all the ethical antinatalist authors like Patrick Golubowski, who is the translator of David Benatar's Better Never to Have Been into Polish, David Benatar himself, Theophile de Groot, Karim Akerma, among others. It's a nice article which helps shift our focus from imagined doomsday scenarios for not having children to actual ethical considerations of procreation. On the Exploring Antinatalism podcast, Mati Hairi posted a video with a thought experiment. Mati uses Benatar's argument to bridge the gap between dying of extinction for humans and killing of extinction for animals. Just a note before you go ahead and watch this video, make sure to understand that this is exploration of ethics through thought experiments, which can have serious consequences in practical life. If I understand the main point of this video correctly, then it is this. David Benatar has claimed that coming into existence of all sentient beings is a harm to them. He has also expressed a view that extinction of humans and other sentient beings is desirable. In Better Never to Have Been, he says, although the process of extinction may be regrettable, and although the prospect of human extinction may in some ways be bad for us, it would be better, all things considered, if there were no more people and indeed no more conscious life. Now, extinction of any species can be brought about in at least two overlapping ways. One is when existing members of the species are killed. This is killing of extinction. Another one is, for some reason, reproduction is curtailed down such that eventually all existing members live and die out their natural life, but no more replacements are made. This is dying of extinction. In this video, Mati claims that when it comes to human extinction, Benatar has opposed the killing off method on moral grounds, but has suggested that dying off phased extinction would be less regrettable than a continuing cycle of reproduction. But, and here's the main claim, Benatar does not oppose explicitly the killing of extinction of other species. So I went back to Better Never to Have Been and checked this footnote on page number 197. It is noteworthy that human concern about human extinction takes a different form from human concern, where there is any, about the extinction of non-human species. Most humans who are concerned about the extinction of non-human species are not concerned about the individual animals whose lives are cut short in the passage to extinction, even though that is one of the best reasons to be concerned about extinction, at least in its killing form. Okay, based on this, we might quickly jump to reject Mati's claim, but that would be a mistake. The footnote is about the comparative analysis of concerns about extinction. You might have n number of concerns about extinction, but concern for killing of individual animals might be the best among them. So that does not necessarily prove that Mati's claim is wrong. Maybe I should go back and read Better Never to Have Been again. Once again, but Mati has made a good point which can be explored further. So, as always, thanks to Mati for doing this. A channel called Shashi.Antinatalist made a series of videos on antinatalism talking about aspects like appeal to nature, appeal to ancestors, the argument about elderly welfare and others. The thing is, all of them are in Hindi, so it is nice to see antinatalist content in other languages. Lawrence also did two videos, one talking about the possibility of sentience in AI and another one on Alex O'Connor arguing against having kids. Now, there's a famous quote, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. I won't say that pro-natalists are enemies, but they are certainly our opponents when it comes to ethics of procreation. And so I think we should pay attention to what's going on in the pronatalist world, or as some would say, the world. So here is my one-off sub-segment, pronatalism this week. I can't cover all the pronatalist stories as there are too many of them, but we'll go through some of them. A woman was fined for child-free propaganda for the first time in the city of Sevastopol, which is in Crimea, which is under Russian control since 2014. A woman was fined 50,000 rubles, which is roughly 500 US dollars. What was a crime? She posted a quote by Quentin Tarantino, "Making movies, not children is my motto." I actually don't know if Quentin Tarantino really ever said this, given that he has two children. But the woman has posted this on a Russian social media site, VKontakte, along with pictures of characters from various films and cartoons showing the middle finger. Interesting point is, she had posted this even before the law came into effect in December last year. This is from the Telegram handle of Sevastopol police. During monitoring of the virtual space, operatives of the Center for Combating Extremism of the Russian Ministry of Internal Affairs for the city of Sevastopol established that the 29-year-old woman published misanthropic posts on the social network, including a statement about the attractiveness of refusing to have children in favor of a carefree lifestyle. After the legislative changes came into force, the owner of the account did not delete the prohibited materials from her page and they remained accessible. So she was fined because she just did not delete a previous post. From Russia to South Korea, the poster country of low fertility rates and target of pronatalism's fear-mongering. The news is that birth rates in South Korea are set to rise for the first time in 9 years. The number of newborns between January 2024 and November 2024 rose 3% from a year earlier to just about more than 220,000. This rise is attributed to the rise in marriages in the previous year. In the Eastern cultures, the correlation between marriages and having children is relatively stronger. The number of marriages in South Korea in January to November period jumped by 13.5%, which means next year also there'll be even more number of births. A similar thing is happening in China, when number of births rose 5.8% to 9.54 million in 2024. Note that this is not fertility rate, which is the average number of children per woman. This is just the total births in a given period. And secondly, even though the consequence will be bad from an antinatalist perspective, as more children will be brought into existence, it is not necessarily bad news for antinatalism, as the original reasons for falling birth rates were not motivated by ethical antinatalism to start with. But I'm sure some pronatalists will come declaring victory over antinatalism, victory of good over evil, and so on. There was an article in Washington Post about Simone and Malcolm Collins, the couple who want to make America procreate again. Simone is now pregnant for the 6th time since 2019. Later on, she will have cesarean section. She had complications during the delivery of her first child, so since then each of their children has been delivered through C-section. Simone treats herself as a mechanical baby making machine. When she delivers a child, she waits for 9 months to recover, and then one of the genetically selected frozen embryos is transferred into her uterus through IVF technology. During the process, she has to go through a barrage of exams, different scopies, detailed book work, a strict regime of healthy workouts and diets, and then finally pregnancy and the process of delivery. But she won't be stopping soon. She wants to do this 3 more times. She thinks that by being a baby factory, she is sacrificing for a cause greater than herself. She says, "I'm happy to die in labor." Her husband, Malcolm Collins, also says that when she says that she's a pronatalist, she's putting her life on the line in service of her belief system. Well, very good that you give all that you have for the grander purpose that you believe in. But what about the children that are produced as a result? They are just tools for your agenda. Did they consent for this? What about the risk that their life might not be worth living despite all the genetic screening done? I mean, you can't avoid things like road accidents through genetic screening. And then what about the bulk of suffering that they will go through their lives in order to enjoy the pleasures they were not deprived of in the first place? That, I think, is the difference between pronatalists and antinatalists. It could very well be that pronatalists' beliefs are wrong, and it could also be that antinatalists are deluded in their moral judgments. But at least in the case of antinatalists, they are not producing new suffering beings as a result of their delusions. But there's another point about Collins's. Recall where he says his wife is putting her life on the line in service of her belief system. This has a tone of appreciation, like, see how virtuous my wife is. But that is just an amped up version of the same romanticization of female sacrifice that's endemic in conservative circles, where what makes a woman good is how much self-subjugation she can endure. Says Amanda Marcotti in an article on Salon, where she takes down each aspect of Collins's approach. But the main point of the article was not Collins's. It is about Elon Musk's war on Head Start childhood education, which exposes how pronatalists are really anti-women. Head Start is a US government program designed to help children between the age of 0 to 5 who come from low-income backgrounds. The article claims that Elon Musk and Donald Trump are creating obstacles to funding of this Head Start program. So the same billionaires who want people to have more children also don't want to help children from poorer backgrounds. Along with Salon, Slate also had a reactionary article to Collins's. For the love of God, stop profiling this couple. The couple wants the world to have more babies. This prompts the question, who the hell cares, by Nitish Pahwa. The article is enriched with a lot of hyperlinks to all the undeserved media coverage that Collins's couple gets. We also come to know that Simone ran for Pennsylvania State House seat on a Republican ticket and lost to a Democrat in November last year. Nitish points out various failed and imagined projects by the couple, like the Project Eureka, where there will be a pro-natalist utopian town and Collins's will be the mayors. The couple easily hobnobs with racists, are practicing some kind of eugenics, and have very dubious parenting style. We also come to know who their silicon daddies are. I mean the rich people from Silicon Valley who give them money to carry out their pro-natalist projects, and how they are just ineffective, abusive industry plants. If you want to do a deep dive into the rabbit hole that these pro-natalists have dug up, then this is the article. Talking of rich men asking people to have more children, here's another rich man who never had any children himself. Pope Francis has again for the 8 billionth time asked people to have more children.
Si celebra la giornata della vita sul tema trasmettere la vita, speranza per il mondo.
Transmitting life, hope for the world. Now, this might be a translation error, but transmitting life itself sounds like transmitting a disease. I'm sure Pope didn't mean it this way, so let's see what he says further.
Mi unisco ai vescovi italiani nell'esprimere riconoscenza alle tante famiglie che accolgono volentieri il dono della vita e nell'incoraggiare le giovani coppie a non aver timore di mettere al mondo dei figli.
Okay, so many things to unpack here. First, welcome the gift of life. Who exactly is it a gift to? Certainly not to the child who will be born. She will go through suffering of life and death that she did not ask for. Maybe it is the gift to parents. But then the question is, can a living being be given as a gift? That sounds like objectifying a subjective being. Next, encouraging young couples to not be afraid to bring children into the world. I think he is addressing the ever-growing class of young people who don't want to have children because the world is getting worse because of climate change, or because of worsening economic conditions, or politicians they don't like are in the office, and so on. Now, these are very valid concerns, but there is a much deeper and much more important and permanent concern. It is the risks of life that we impose on to someone else. The gamble that we take with someone else's life, that is our children's life. And I don't think Pope and his religion would be on the side of gambling. So I'm not sure why he would not think of this.